I've bought this abandoned SAAB dealership and I'm going to turn it into my dream garage. Let's head inside and give you a tour and show you what's been going on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Torque Rooms. We filmed a bunch of short form videos that we've done on TikTok and Instagram, and lots of people have been asking for more long form and more in detailed versions. So we decided we'd do a YouTube channel, show you in a bit more detail. Let's head inside and give you a tour and show you what's been going on. Dave's here painting the doors, anthracite doors going on. Shane's here working on the ceiling, so we've had all the insulation put in. We've gone for these new black tiles over the white ones that are here originally. Steve's painted all of this original framework that was silver, so that's now black. And Shane's just working his way around putting these spotlight LEDs in. Not dead set on what brightness these are going to be, but we can worry about that afterwards when they're up. Really starting to transform this place, and you can certainly tell now the insulation's in. Just feels a bit more cozy in here than it was before. So moving over here, we've decided that this terrazzo floor that's on the floor here, after talking to one of the guys that used to work here previously, told us that that floor runs all the way through under this white floor here. So we want to chip up this white tile floor. Got the tile chisel machine there. We're going to hopefully strip all that and expose that terrazzo floor right the way through the showroom, and then we're hoping we can get all that polished up so it looks like new. So the team of plasters are in there working over there now, but you can see here they've stripped all this back. So after we had the new roof put on, the roof went on, we had dehumidifiers in here over Christmas to try and dry the place out. It dried a lot of it out, but what we did discover is there was areas where it was just too damp. So the plasters have chiseled all this off. This is all going to be damp proofed and re-skimmed and board. That whole section there is all going to be covered in acoustic boarding, but we'll show you that in a new video. Dave's working on the paint at the minute, painting the windows anthracite, but we're going to change all of this, keep all this, but this is all going to be painted a colour we'll show you in some more detail in a future video. Moving through here, there's the counter here where we'll have the sales team, they'll be sitting there. Offices here for the accounts team, and then moving through to where we're going to be based. So in here, hopefully this will be my office. We've got a cool design going on this glass window. I want to keep this glass window, but it's going to be frosted with a big Torque Rooms logo in the center, which is going to be faded out then to be clear. And then on this back wall here, anybody that knows me well will know I'm obsessed with houndstooth. I trim all my seats and my cars in it. Even my rucksack I bring to work houndstooth. So this is all going to be trimmed in houndstooth wallpaper through here. So we showed in one of the Instagram videos that this whole wall here was just damp and moldy. So we thought we could salvage it, but as they started to pull the plaster off to access all the electrics, they realized that the stud work behind was moldy. So all that's been ripped off and reboarded and reskimmed, as is the ceiling, which has given us the opportunity to insulate all this as well. So there's a few lights in already, just to give the guys a bit of light, and we've got heaters here just to try and dry this plaster out, ready so the decorating can be done. This back wall is all going to be acoustic boarding, and moving through here, this is where the development and part of the media team are going to be working. Same again, painted in here, all this wall in acoustic boarding. It's all been insulated and skimmed to just make it a nicer environment. Walking through these doors here, so if we walk through this doors, it will take you through to the workshop area. So here, back through to the workshop. This has changed quite a lot from when we took on the building. There was a big paint booth here, which had to be stripped out because we're not going to do any paint work here. But we've decided to keep those panels from the paint booth, which are under there currently, and we're going to clad the ceiling in another area, which will feature in a future video. Talking to one of the guys that used to work here, and he was telling me he used to work on this ramp in the 70s. And in here is a big piston that's about that big, that's 8 foot in the ground. So we won't be able to rip that out. So the ramp's coming up, and this is going to be filled with concrete, and we're going to be placing our ramp to work on vehicles and do our development stuff in this space here once the pit has all been filled in from where the paint booth was. In one of the Instagram, TikTok videos, we showed you our idea of having cars parked in these bays under here. What we want to be able to do is show off nice vehicles here, but we want to know what kind of vehicles you'd like to see in there. Would it be classic Porsches? We definitely need some Saabs in there. We would like to rotate that and have guest cars in those spaces. So yeah, let us know what you would like to see in those spaces there. In the back area here, once we ripped the ramp down, there was a big hole, so that's all been boarded and plastered up and just made prettier, and it's given us the opportunity to put some insulation in there just to try and keep this place nicer in the colder winter months. Back here, the whole roof has been replaced as well, but this whole thing was concrete asbestos, so not the real dangerous asbestos, but the very fine level of asbestos boarding, and it needed replacing because it was full of holes where the chimney was for the oven, and also where they used to heat this workshop with old used oil heaters. They'd all been removed and there was just big holes, so there was so much damp coming in. The other thing, the underside of the board was just so dark, and all the skylights were just moldy, so the whole roof had to come off and be replaced with this insulated roof, which has transformed it inside. It's made it so much lighter because the underside of it's white, and also the skylights are so much bigger. And it's just made the place feel warmer inside than it did previously. Where we go along and we're just discovering things, we're trying to save them to be able to reuse them. So not sure what we're going to do with this cupboard thing. Sure, it was originally a parts store, but we're going to tidy that up and use it for purpose. We've just not totally decided. These old fans, extractor fans, were part of the extraction system for the paint booth. We want to turn those into tables with lights up underneath and the fans spinning. Moving into the back space, we featured this in the video as well, but we had Steve from Geeky Details over to try and help us clean this floor up, really to get an idea of whether it was salvageable underneath. So this floor, we were told again by one of the locals that this back section of the building didn't used to be here when it was Leyland, and when it moved over to Saab insisted on, if they were building this, that this floor had to be put down this exact tile. So this is a Saab specific tile that they insisted would go down. So we wanted to clean it just to see whether it was salvageable, and we didn't want to have to replace it. So we think we're going to be able to clean it up enough that we can use this flooring, because we want to try and keep that original Saab feel to the place, so wherever possible, use its heritage to show it as the new version of the torque rooms as we're going to create it. Back here now we finally have light. So Shane and the team from SH Electrical have been working their way through, stripping all the old electrics. None of it was salvageable, it all needed replacing. So we've had to have new cabling put all the way back through here, new plug sockets on the wall, and this is all going to need to be cleaned. The roller shutter is going to have to be made to work again. It's just another task. Up around the whole workshop here were all these Saab service signs. So Saab quick service from when it was a Saab dealership. We really hoped we could kind of reuse these, but they've just got all damp and they're just crumbling. So we're going to get these remade, same font, same colors, and try and utilize these again throughout the building where possible, again just to kind of bring that Saab feeling back into the building as part of its heritage. Moving through into this back room, we don't really have a purpose for this room yet, but it's kind of the last part of the project. You can see the back wall there's quite damp, and I think that's partly because the ceiling was leaking before, but also because the road level is higher than the wall. So that's going to be a project for the future to try and sort that out. This will probably be the last room we do. What we use this room for, we'll see. But at the minute, this is kind of on the back burner while we work on getting the rest of the torque rooms ready. The one thing we have done in here is we've had the doors replaced. So there was 2 wooden doors here that were just moldy, old, didn't open properly, full of cracks. That's been replaced with this galvanized steel roller shutter door, so we can access this section of the building from outside. Moving through to this section, I'll show you an image of how I picture this being. What I would like to do is have a car parked in the center here, sitting on a rug, all this nice and pretty and painted, and lots of car memorabilia. So when you look back at it, it's a delight to see, but still feels like a garage, has that vibe to it, but it's fresh and modern and clean in the way that it's painted and the way it's presented. This area here is going to be the kitchen. This was all damp from above. There was holes in the ceiling, all the insulation was falling down. The plastering team have been in here today. They've boarded this and plastered this all, so it's all nice and neat. We want to try and keep this brickwork. This brickwork features in lots of different rooms throughout the building. This pattern here, we're going to keep that any way we possibly can, again, just as part of the heritage. That'll all be painted. This is going to be the kitchen area. Out here, can't show you now because it's all sealed while the plasterers are in there. There was an old door here that was wedged shut when we bought the building. Eventually got it open, and out there we found an old oil tank, a fresh oil tank, and randomly a urinal just the other side of this wall with nowhere near enough room to access it. I did ask the guy that came by that used to work here. He said this used to be an old wooden hut with a tea room in there, the other side of that door. Next to the kitchen is what I think was originally the old customer toilet, because they'd made the effort to tile it, and we were kind of calling it the ladies' toilet, but we've decided this needs to be a disabled toilet. There was a wall just here that was about ready to fall down anyway. This has all been stripped out, ready to be boarded, so this is going to be a disabled toilet. The doorway will be opened up, again keeping that brick pattern on the other side of the wall, but disabled toilet and sink in here, hand dryer. Nothing particularly exciting here, just a toilet, but a disabled toilet. Moving down from here is the gents. So the gents, I think, was probably just a staff toilet. It's not nice in here, it smells, it's very basic. Toilets are hanging off the wall. The urinals just go straight into the ground, so it stinks in here. None of the plumbing's working, and there's a very basic toilet there. So all this is being ripped out, and a pretty exciting new toilet going in. Something interesting going on with the urinals. This space here is particularly cozy. If you were standing having a wee next to your mate.
What the fuck are you doing? You trying to look at my cock? Good one.
It's a bit too cozy, so this wall's going to be being ripped out. We're going to put a new stud wall up a little bit further along to open that up to make more room and just shrink the sink area a bit, because you don't necessarily need all that room as sinks. All the ceiling needs to be ripped out and insulated, and obviously all plastered in here as well. So into this room here, so it's quite dark in here, but this I think was originally a parts store looking by the floor. So this room again is later on in the journey. There's still quite a lot to do for now. They're working on getting the electrics through here. But this is all going to need to be plastered up and boarded up and made nicer. But this is the room that I would like to put the steel panels for the paint booth on the ceiling here with the holes in it, all insulated first, holes in it for the lighting. But yeah, just make a feature of the paint booth and then a little picture on the wall showing it when it was the paint booth and now being reused to clad the ceiling. We just wanted it to still feel like a car garage and just kind of areas of it that have been here from before, reusing, save the use of materials, but also just as a feature of what it used to be all those years ago. So moving through here, this was originally an old office, we're told. So we're going to make this into a meeting room for us to use, but also for other people to be able to use. I want to continue these SAAB stripes all the way through along all the glass and then frost the glass from up there just to make it a bit more private. But a nice wood resin table in here, nice chairs, so we can use this for our own meeting room and also for other people to use as a meeting room. Out there you can see the plasterers are busy working away. We had to rip all this ceiling down because I think there was again an old oil heater here because it was all stained and there's a big hole in the ceiling, so this plaster's all been, well, it wasn't even plaster, it was the original boarding's all been ripped down and they've insulated just to make it nicer and save energy costs and running costs where we can by having the extra insulation. We've hired in this cherry picker because the ceiling was just full of lots of old cables and bits of string and wire and chains hanging down. The chap that used to work here was telling me they used to hang all of the body car panels from the ceiling. He said it was quite hairy when the wind was blowing, they'd kind of clang around and they were always worried that the panel was going to fall down on them. But all the old cables and lines and chains and stuff seem to be up there. So we've hired this so we can work our way along and strip all that back. I'm going to keep these beams. I'm not going to bother painting them. We're going to keep the rust look. We're going to hoover them all and tidy them all up. But I kind of like that they're kind of rustic and rusty anyway. I know they're strong. The new roof kind of just makes that mix of heritage and new work, I think, in this environment. All these walls just need blasting back, cleaning and then painting. I think it'll make a big difference with the car sitting here on the rug, and then hopefully some merchandise on the walls, Torqueroom branded hats, t-shirts, key rings, jumpers, all that kind of thing. We've had this shutter replaced, so this is an anthracite shutter on it because it had an old white one that was very flimsy and weak. But all of this here hopefully will all be changed, and the front of the building and the windows all painted anthracite with a big torquerooms logo just there. So out here in the car park we had MPH Construction come along. It was thick covered in moss because the building's been empty for 2 years or more. It was just a build up of moss, and everywhere you walked you got filthy and you traipsed it through the building. And then yesterday we had a road sweeper come and sweep what he could here. Unfortunately the road sweeper was massive and it was too big to get up the side and the back of the building. We need all that doing, so we're borrowing a smaller one to do all that. But for now this has all been swept and made it a lot tidier. We still need to do some things like remove this old lamppost. They have no power to them anymore, so they can't work, but it's using up parking spaces, so this will all be chipped away and made level so we can have clear parking space throughout it all. Moving down the side of the building, there was quite a clear drainage issue. When the roof was all replaced and the gutters were replaced, we realised that actually all that waterfall couldn't quite make its way through these. So we think the downpipe's working, but we think this is probably blocked. So MPH Construction are going to come back and clear all the drains for us. But Russell cleared all this moss, which has made a big difference. When we've got the road sweeper in and we've been able to clear it more, give us a good idea of what it's like under here. But I think actually the gravel and the road is fine. This area here was particularly mossy and dirty, the build-up. I mean, there must have been 2-3 inches of moss just in this area. So it's cleared it quite a lot, but we just need that road sweeper now to be able to get a good idea of what's underneath. Moving around the back of the building, so this is currently my mobile office, which has been really handy. So I've got Wi-Fi in there, a toilet and a hob and a microwave, so I can sit here, do my work and also deal with the tradesmen and kind of project manage the whole operation. This, we've yet to discover what's in here. This will definitely feature in a new video. We've got no key. Quite looking forward to getting in there. Probably going to find nothing particularly exciting, but I'm hoping when we crack that open we find some big old SAAB signs or Proton signs or SsangYong signs or something that was from when it was all those other dealerships all those years ago. Moving around this backspace here, so there's lots of space here, which is going to give us the ability to park staff cars or people's cars around here. We had the back of this whole building reclad as well. This had an asbestos kind of half level across the back of the building. When Ashley and the guys from Act Industrial came and replaced the whole roof, they used the same thick insulating roofing board all the way down, one for insulation purposes and two just to make it so much more tidier. The side of the buildings, as you'll see, the plaster and the render's been chipped off and it doesn't look particularly nice. But when the weather's a bit nicer and the plaster customers are finished inside, they're going to render all down the side of the building and on-site render just to make the whole back space as good looking as the front will, hopefully. There's one more plot to this site that I need to show you. So follow me. This is what we call the secret garden. So this is also part of the plot. But when we work our way back through here, you'll see once you've ducked through all the trees, there's this space back here. So we're calling this the secret garden because it is just a little hidden gem that nobody knows it's here. But this is also part of our plot. We have some pretty cool plans on what we plan on doing with this in the future after we finish the whole Talk Rooms project, but keep following for more details on what happens to this space here. That's a quick tour just for episode 1, but we'll go into more detail on all the other parts of the build as we go along. For more quicker, shorter updates and more regular updates, follow us on Facebook, TikTok and Instagram. Just search for Talk Rooms. If you want to get involved, if you'd like to collaborate with us, this is a big project, but anybody that can help us along the way we very much appreciate. Please reach out to us, either drop us a DM or ideally send us an email to hello@torquerooms.com. Please continue to follow us on this journey of the Talk Rooms where people come to talk.